Hey everyone, Zach Butler YG over here. By popular demand, you guys voted on and you wanted to see my Gold Pride Punk deck that I've been working on, and I finally threw it together and played it at locals tonight. I ended up getting second place. I only lost to Sky Striker, where my hand was just like a bunch of Gold Pride cards and I didn't really have anything to do with it, so it was unfortunate. The deck felt really solid and it was a ton of fun to play, as always. You know, getting to play my favorite theme in the Punk cards is always great. Getting to play the Gold Pride cards is really cool. They offer a ton of value and a ton of power to the deck that it didn't have before, so that's always really good. If you like this sort of content, let me know with a comment down below. If you are new here, please go ahead and subscribe. That would mean the most. And if you want to pick up any of the cards found in this deck profile, make sure to use the affiliate link found in the description below. A portion of that does go back to the channel and helps me while helping yourselves out, which is pretty great. And if you guys want to see some combos with this deck, let's get it to 150 likes. 150, because I think the 50 was too easy, so we'll do 150. If you guys want to see more of this deck in action, do 150 likes, and maybe I'll do some other cool content with it here in the future too. So we'll go over each part of the deck. First, we're going to go over the monsters, of course. First, you have your 3 Foxy Tunes. I think that's pretty normal. Just one Ogre Dance. Ogre Dance was kind of weak, and I was still a little afraid to droll. And as much as it does get you to Xiamen faster, you already have so many ways that the additional copies of Ogre Dance aren't as valuable, especially since I'm not playing additional copies of Deer Note. I don't need to search out a specific card as much. Then, of course, there is 3 Xiamen, the main playwright of the deck. Big fan of this card, of course. It helps out with a lot of OTKs and is your main starter. You have 1 Wagon to search out the field spell, 1 Madame Spider, of course, to search out the trap card, and 1 Shirakasai for your fusion and quick synchro plays. This card is pretty much the MVP, but I still think 1 is probably correct. I felt like 2 was better last format when we were dealing with more Kashtira, but since that deck has taken a bit of a backseat, I think you can get away with 1 again. The last Punk monster I played was the 1 Deer Note, of course. Drawing this is obviously awful, but you only need 1 because you can always summon it from your hand with the Rising Carp. You can summon it with its own effect, and it's just kind of like a good level 5. One of the other reasons why I only play 1 is because of Roller Baller. You actually have access to other level 5 monsters too, which is pretty cool. So that's all the Punk monsters. For the Gold Prides, we have 3 Gold Pride Leon. This card's insane. On summon, lets you special summon back a Gold Pride monster from your graveyard. If you do, you're locked into Gold Prides from the extra deck for the turn. So generally what you'll do is you'll summon this on the opponent's turn, special summon back a monster, then make Star Leon, which is pretty cool. You can also just summon it, though, as just a level 3 tuner monster, which is pretty nice as well. 3 Captain Carry. This is the Trap Searcher. What's important about Captain Carry as well is that she's a water. That actually comes up a lot because of the Dragite, which is one of the main pieces that you'll end on in your combo most of the time, which, like I said, get us 250 likes. You'll get to see some of those combo plays. Searching out the best trap card, I would argue, almost ever printed that isn't banned, Start Your Engines, is pretty ridiculous. And then we have 2 Roller Baller. I opted for 2 because I kind of felt like the Deer Note filled in place of the third one, honestly, because they're both level 5s. But I just like that Roller Baller is a generic level 5 that can be special summoned if you have less life points, of course. You can use it with Leon to make the Dragite on the opponent's turn, which I did do a couple times where they didn't see it coming, and then I made Dragite and they were very confused. You can also just use it to make the fusion monsters as well. And then finally, for the engine monsters, we have 1 Nitro Head as well. Nitro Head got a lot weaker with Kashtira taking a back seat. The token doesn't get as much value anymore. It's really just there to be a level 8 extender and just a beat stick. For monster hand traps, we slimmed the lineup quite a bit compared to previous formats where you'd see like Ash, Troll, Ogre, Nibiru, Gamma, all that stuff. This time we're just doing 3 Ash and 1 Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, and then I guess I'll just go ahead and show these really quick too. You have your 3 Infinite and Permanents, so only 7 hand traps. The reason for this is that Board breakers are pretty good in this deck. Like you have pseudo board breakers in your engine. Your engine is also just powerful enough to get you to most of these kinds of cards with relatively ease, because you have the draws from Better Luck Next Time. You have the draws from the JM Extreme session. You have deck thinning through Chariot Carry and stuff like that. You just get to them so quickly that doesn't really matter. And no one's really putting up like a board that you can't pretty easily, you know, like push through, because one of the things that makes this deck so good is that you have so many pushes through the E-Tellies, the Foxy Tunes, the Gold Prides, the Zeomans, the flurry of synchro summons, the Xyz summons, the Link summons. If you can get to that, like, you just have so much that eventually something sticks, and that's when this deck tends to shine. So that was it for the hand traps. For the rest of the deck, we have 3 Emergency Teleport, of course. It's like one of the best spells ever printed, and the fact that it's still at 3 in this deck is just absurd to me, but here we are. We live in a society. 2 Gold Pride, Better Luck Next Time. This card's actually just really good. It's 10 key for any Gold Pride card, and then you take damage equal to its attack. And then in the end phase, if a Gold Pride extra deck monster returns to the extra deck by its effect, you get to draw a card. So one of the really cool things is you can search this with Chariot Carry, and then because you've used the Chariot Carry effect, once this is on the field and the end of the turn, you'll get to draw a card anyway. But this can then search out like a Starleon and help you get ready for the next turn. That was the only Gold Pride spell I played. I was going to play The Crowd Goes Wild, but I felt like I didn't want to play more Gold Pride monsters, and then I considered that came out of nowhere. Again, didn't really want to play more Gold Pride spells that didn't do enough. That Came Out of Nowhere was a great extender, but I felt like Monster Reborn, honestly, if I was going to play that kind of extender, would just do the same thing, but better. And then I played 1 Punk Jam Extreme session, 1 Call by the Grave, and the thing I was testing tonight was 2 Ready Fusion and 1 Instant Fusion. If you have followed me for a while, you know I absolutely detest that this card exists. I think that Instant Fusion and now Ready Fusion also are some of the most unfair and horrendously balanced spells that have ever been printed. Instant Fusion on release back in 2006, I actually remember telling all of my friends that it was one of the greatest cards ever printed, because you could Instant Fusion and Tribute for Monarch, and then, you know, we got Synchros, and it's like you can use it with tuners, and then with Xyz it got even better, and now with Links, it just keeps getting better. Ready Fusion is actually in the same vein, but it requires normal monsters, which is actually fine, and I'll go over the extra deck and explain why Ready Fusion is so good in this deck. For the trap cards, we have 2 Gold Pride, Start Your Engines. The reason why there's 2 is because you have any 2 level 3s gets you to Chariot Carry, which gets you to Start Your Engines, Better Luck Next Time, which gets you to Carry, which then gets you to Start Your Engines. So basically, any 2 level 3s will get you to Start Your Engines. So there's really no need to play more. I just wanted to have multiple because it's not a once per turn, and I wanted to have a 25% chance to draw it, and then also be able to search it so then I have 2. But it is one of the first things you sight out, especially when you're going second, you sight out of 1. At least 1, you can usually sight out of 2. And then 1 Jaruri Punk Dangerous Gabu, Imperm, and Life Point Gain. It really was just kind of an Imperm this week, tonight. Shout out to the token booth for giving me my Crowd Goes Wild token, which is pretty cool. For the extra deck, we have 1 All Vein, which is a Ready Fusion and Instant Fusion target, and it's a tuner, which is really important, because that means that having a Foxy Tune, or an Ogre Dance, or even a leftover Jam Dragon Drive means that you can then get into Baronne de Fleur, which is huge. That did come up quite a few times tonight. 1 Sea Monster Theseus. This was because I wanted to have the ability with just opening up like Captain Carry and Ready Fusion to go into Dragite and have a negate. Wasn't that great. I don't think it ever came up. That actually, I might make it I might use it as a level, I might use a level 3 instead. So that way I can, if I draw Instant Fusion or Ready Fusion, I can summon or activate it and then special summon and then make a Chariot Carry and keep going from there. That's an idea. Then we have 1 Deep Sea Shark. It's another water. This time, instead of being a level 5 water tuner, it's level 5 non-tuner water. So it means that Dragite gets usage either way. 1 Rising Carp, of course. 1 Pinballer. I only summoned it once, and it was very impactful when I did. This card's insane. On summon, you can, on the resolution of the effect, equip monsters to it equal to up to the number of fusion materials you used for it, and it doesn't target, so they have to respond right away, which is really good. And then it returns to summon the Pinballer, which is pretty great. We of course have the boss monster in Psychic End Punisher. I think I only summoned it twice tonight. I actually don't end up summoning most of the time. I summon a bunch of other stuff, but I got this up to 17,000 attack, which is pretty cool. One Amazing Dragon, of course. This is, I think I summoned this more than Psychic End Punisher in the deck, honestly. One Baron de Fleur, which did come up a pretty decent chunk tonight. One Dragites, one Jam Dragon Drive. You might be asking why I'm playing Dragite when I don't play like Nibiru or anything. It is because Dragite is a spell trap negation that does not require a Link monster or anything else. It just requires a water monster in grave. And since Captain Carry, Chariot Carry, and your ready and instant fusion targets are waters, that's huge. Then we play one Star Leon. Card is very good. It's during the main phase, quick effect, you can gain attack equal to one monster your opponent controls, and if your life points are lower, you can destroy that opponent's monsters, so that's pretty cool. And then I played one Chariot Carry to search out the crowd goes, or the better luck next time. Another really cool thing with this too is one thing I started doing was I would search out the crowd goes wild. Not the crowd goes wild. Better luck next time. I have a copy of the crowd goes wild, like literally sitting right here. So my apologies. I keep looking at it thinking that's the card. But so I would use this to search out the spell, and then I would send like Nitro Head or Pinballer, and then off the spell I would search Leon, which would then summon back the monster, and I would get them both for free. That was just a really cool little neat trick that came up. Something to consider. So it gets you to additional bodies, because this just says that you can search a spell and then foolish a gold pride. And then one Zeus, if I ever kept the the Chariot Carry out, which I never did. And then I played one Nitro Blaster, just in case it may come up. It hasn't yet, but Chariot Carry can actually then get you to Nitro Blaster, because you can go Chariot Carry, do the play that I just mentioned where you foolish one, and then you summon Leon, get back the Pinballer or the Nitro Head, and then you make them into Nitro Blaster, pop, and then do all sorts of cool stuff. And then I played Unicorn as well, just to have like a generic out to things. Of the extra deck, these three never came up. And I never used Theseus, but literally everything else was summoned at least once, usually multiple times. So there's only a few changes I might make to the extra deck. For the side deck, I cited 3 Cashier Fenrir. I think this card's pretty cheap now. I'm not totally sure. It might have gone back up. I've had these forever, but this is a card I highly recommend citing in pretty much any deck that needs like a free agent good card. This is just a way to like help make pushes, and being a level 7 obviously means that you can make Baron de Fleur more easily, but it's just a good level 7 to summon, and it forces out interaction because it on its own is a boss monster and a threat, which is really good. 2 Gamma Seal, the Sea Turtle Kaiju. Just wanted to have a generic out to cards like a Rise Heart. It was okay. And then I cited 2 Triple Tactics Talents, just for primarily for when I'm going second, because going first, I already draw so many cards and I have so much access to everything. I was like, I don't know if I really need it. But going second, this deck can really struggle because so much of your deck is a combo that you need to have additional ways to make pushes, and Talents really gets you there with that. 1 Harpy's Feather Duster and 2 Lightning Storms. I think that's pretty understandable. Lightning Storm obviously at 2. I played 2 Cosmic Cyclone to have a quick play out to back row. They never came in, so they might get changed for something else. And then 3 Solemn Judgment for when I go first. I just wanted to have like that powerful, like kind of all-encompassing card to really help take care of things. Obviously it helps with the Psychic End Punisher, and because of how all of your P.U.N.K effects are working and your gold pride burn, your life points get pretty low anyway, so paying half of like 3,200 doesn't matter, or half of 3,000 or whatever you're at, just doesn't really matter. So that was the deck. Let me see if there's anything that is absurdly expensive that maybe needs a budget option. I don't know how much a lot of these cards are because I've just had them, but if Baronne de Fleur is too expensive for you, you can always consider Changing. Baronne is really good, obviously, because it has a negation, so that might be a bit of an issue. But if you can find a way to make a generic Link 2 and get its graveyard, you could even replace the Baronne with a Borreload Savage Dragon. In the main deck, let's see. I don't know that any of this is terribly expensive outside of the P.U.N.K engine, so there's really no replacements to make. Cards to consider, though, would definitely be the Crowd Goes Wild. If you play a heavier Gold Pride lineup, what this does is you reveal a Gold Pride monster, and then you get to add a different one to your hand. And then if your life points are... and then you can apply the following effect. You can special summon the added monster and then burn yourself for that much damage, so then your life points are lower, so you can continue to play. That's really cool. You could consider... that came out of nowhere if you feel like you need a Monster Reborn or like a quick effect ability to do so. You could consider more hand traps if you want to cut back on some of the combo stuff, because that's definitely a viable option with the way the format's gone. You could play cards like Droll, you could play more Ogres, you could play Nibiru even. And if you play Nibiru, then your Dragite actually gains a little bit of additional potential value because you can always Excavate 5, maybe hit the Nibiru and bounce a card. If you wanted to play more Links, you could definitely cut back on the Ready and Instant Fusion engine. Like, these 3 slots are definitely not necessary. They were just something cool I was trying out. There's a lot of different ways to actually build this deck right now, and I'm really excited to keep playing it. Unfortunately, I will not be playing in the WCQ. Otherwise, I can say with almost 100% certainty I would be playing the Gold Pride P.U.N.K deck or some form of P.U.N.K at the WCQ. So what I'm going to do then instead is, instead of testing for myself, I'm going to test as much as I can. I'll be posting as much theory on this deck as I can to help you guys out. If you see me at the event, please come say hi. I'd love to sign some Gold Pride P.U.N.K cards. I'd love to get some pictures, love to see your deck, you know, just kind of hear what videos you guys like and stuff like that too. I think that's it for me now, though. If you have any questions, let me know down below, and I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, you have a wonderful night, and I will see you in the next one.